All right, thank you for staying with us. The catastrophic death of late Dr. Wawere Diaso at the General Hospital Odon, Lagos Island, was one that raised a very big question to our perennial ineptitude maintenance culture. This elevator accident could have been avoided if the necessary maintenance had been done or done as at when due. Today on the show, we will be discussing how we can imbibe maintenance culture into the fabrics of our society, how good culture of maintenance helps in preventing or averting disaster and accident, how to also maintain facilities to prevent collateral damage, and why maintenance is key in making facilities durable and efficient. But joining us to discuss this and more is Olalekan Akinwumi, President, International Facility Management Association, IFMA, Lagos, Nigeria chapter. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome. Now, when we talk about maintenance culture, we know we lack it in this part of the world, and that is where I want us to begin. What is at the heart of this matter? Is it that we are just not, endeared towards maintenance across the board, be it at home or when it comes to the office?
Okay, thank you very much for having me this morning. Let me start by saying that maintenance has been part of us. If you reflect back to the olden days, there is a way we maintain our paths. The community will come together, they will clear the path when it is bushy, just to make sure that they have a very good path. Then even looking at their buildings, they will join hands together to ensure that they change the roof and all the elements of the building. So the culture is with us, but at a point, we forget about it. We decided not to look at it again, that whatever we purchase, whatever we build, there should be a continuity. Maintenance is ability to sustain a facility in its own operational state and ensure safety. It is not to function alone. Safety is also key to it.
Yeah.
Something can be functioning, but the safety may not be guaranteed.
Like what happened?
Like what happened. So, and it's quite unfortunate that happened. When you are looking at a very bright future, purposeful lady in a very good profession, and then just have to go like that. It's very sad.
Just to follow up on something you said we used to have it, but at some point we lost it. I'm wondering what that point was. What could have happened that made us lose it?
It is because we refuse. For example, now there is a saying that whenever you get to Baga here in Lagos, you forget your culture, the culture that you have from your village or from your town. The kind of culture. You don't just throw things around. Somebody will call you and say, "Oh, look, go and pick that paper," and you will do. But here in Lagos, just look at anybody can. Your car just on the road, so because nobody can catch it. So because the enforcement is not there, then you decided not to do it. And the same thing with buildings. We have a lot of laws that guide maintenance of buildings, but we don't, because it is not enforced, we don't do it. So we thought that it's not there, but it's there.
Okay, enforcement.
Yes, the enforcement is key.
Good. So in line with the case of the doctor, the general manager of the Lagos State Infrastructure Agency, take on the relevance of this agency. Does the government have any business with facility agency be privatized so that we can get more professionals to get the job done?
Okay, let me give you the background of that agency. The agency came alive, I think, during Governor Fashola. That is when the agency came alive. And that lady was the pioneer general manager. She was the one that defended the bill at the House of Assembly. She's a passionate person when it comes to facility management. If you go to all our hospitals before the establishment of that agency, it is a sorry state. But after she came on board, because the purpose is to maintain the public buildings. And if you go to that secretariat too, you see changes when that agency came on board. So she's not somebody that that doesn't care. There was a particular testimony of one of the CMD of lawsuit in one of our programs. He said he was coming from a federal hospital, now coming to state hospital. That when he came to that hospital lawsuit, that he discovered that he's not running after gardener, he's not running after diesel man, he's not running after electrician. That he now asks, what happened? They now told him that there's a facility management division that handle all their facilities.
So what went wrong?
Exactly.
So he was able to concentrate on his job rather than pursuing gardener, pursuing cleaner to clean or to come and cut grasses. So there's a very clear-cut issue there. The government purposely established it so that they can maintain all their public buildings. And that is what also happened at the federal level.
Yeah.
Order 11. Order 11 was specifically created to ensure that the public buildings are well maintained. And this lady in question was part of that Order 11.
So what now happened?
What That's the thing. What went wrong?
So what now went
Because
wrong?
from what you're saying,
Yes.
you are alluding to the fact that we're firing the wrong person who actually is very passionate about it.
Of
That
course.
the model has even been adopted on a federal level, but there's an obvious failure somewhere. And we need, it's not just a scapegoat, we need to prevent future occurrence.
Yes.
So what went wrong in this particular hospital's case where the story had been on?
You see, you know, facility management is about 12 competency. It's not just one-off thing. And for you, as a general manager, you give a directive, they will send you reports, you look at the reports, and if the report, there's no red signal there, you concentrate on something else. Okay. So, because I was discussing with one elevator expert, he said the elevator is supposed to have at least 6 ropes. So it's not something that should just happen and kill somebody.
Even if there's a crash, it
even if
have cut all of
yes,
those.
all the 6. He said there's supposed to be 10, but at least 6. So it is something that they have to look beyond what we are seeing. It can be an act of sabotage because a lot of things do go wrong. And we need to really, really look at it critically from both professional angle and then be able to prefer a kind of solution to prevent future occurrence.
Right.
So the next question
Yes.
would be, how easy is it to carry out your duties as this agency, considering the bureaucracy of government processes?
You see, facility management is not a kind of operation that needs bureaucracy. For example, if you are telling me that when there's no water, I must write for approval, does that make sense? So bureaucracy should be out of it. A facility manager should be given free hand to operate. You have your budget annually, and you know what you are supposed to do. You have your routine check. So you have all this strategy in place. So it's just for you to ensure that you deliver.
Okay.
So bureaucracy should be out of it.
So should it be privatized?
Is that what you currently face, or you still have issues with bureaucracy within the system?
Bureaucracy is there. You can't take that one away. Because anything that concerns government, even private person,
Yes,
your landlord, your
systems
priest, they will
in
tell
place.
you that, okay, you
have to
must
send a
consult me
message.
before, and something is happening.
Right.
For example, there was a downpour and then the fence collapsed. And you are now telling me that I must wait for you before I protect the people. That. So I have to make sure that something is in place to protect the occupants.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier with regards to this matter of Dr. Vawere that happened, talking about how it should be looked into holistically.
Yes.
What in your perspective should be the way the government should go about looking into it holistically so that we can get to the root of the matter, whether it was an act of sabotage or that something that went wrong, that we get to the root basically?
Yeah, you know, the government said they are investigating. If there's no fair hearing, then it means all the investigation is nothing. Because the rule is that you must give fair hearing.
Yeah.
Both parties must be called. Both parties must present their own case. And then you'll be able to harmonize the thoughts together and then look for the solution ahead of it. And it's not that maybe a particular profession should be involved. It should be all. facility management is very diverse. It's multidisciplinary profession. So it is not something that a particular set. We have clinical facility management and non-clinical facility management. So this experience must come to bear when you want to really judge the matter. It is not something that will just be particular to a particular, specifically to a particular profession that say, okay, this. We have so many accidents on the road.
Of course, yeah.
And then we did not say, okay, the road safety should leave the road. Yes.
I get you, but the thing is there must be consequences. Even you mentioned that there must be consequences. As it is right now, from what you're saying, I'm alluding to the fact that you are not so pleased with the immediate action of the government in firing the person that was fired, the woman. You also alluding to the fact that there is bureaucracy in the system, so we can't blame one person. Don't make one person a scapegoat. How would you want the government to handle this in a way that would seem, because it's not just about justice, so it must be, don't just do justice behind. Justice must be seen to be done. We have lost one very, very promising Nigerian, and a lot of the family have been put into mourning, and we need to be sure that we are doing what we can to ensure they get a bit of comfort from the justice system, while we also prevent this from ever happening again. How do you believe that should be addressed?
Yes, what I believe is that when the government is constituting their investigative panel, both parties should be there. They should be represented. Let us see what happened, not behind the door. Let the doctors' representative be there. Let the experts in elevators be there. Let the lawyers, let the facility, let them be there, so that we look at it and check what really happened. It is when we know what happened, then we now know, okay, this is what action we are going to take. And then, because if the family did not see transparency in your action, it's like you are still hitting them on the wound. But when they see the transparency that these people has been open, then they will be able to say, well.
Okay, so I would like to know what your association is doing to ensure more professionals are coming into the facility management industry. So because we see a lot of collapses in Nigeria pointing to human errors and poor construction supervision. So what is your association doing to ensure that these quacks are being fished out?
Yes, we are doing advocacy annually. And then we also reach out to agencies like Lagos State Safety Commission. We have kind of relationship that looking at it, that there should be a program in place where we can be checking all the stability of the buildings, and which I told them that they should start with their own buildings. Yes. So that when you start with yourself, examine yourself, then you can now examine others.
And point your finger there.
Yes. And then what we also do is that we encourage our technical schools, because that is the basis. When you are putting an elevator operator that is not trained, doesn't add up. But the technical school, they have various, skills, and we encourage them. Last year we gave about, even including with the, injunction with the Lacetra, we gave them 25 of them toolbox to encourage them that, look, being a technical school graduate doesn't make you lesser in the public. You are so important. If your work is not required in a facility or in a place, nobody can do it. You can't pull off your shirt and say you want to do bricklaying or you want to do plumbing, so somebody have to do. So we have to encourage them. And then we also make sure that, look, standard. Because when the incident happened, I have to call them at our secretariat that help me to check and call all our corporate members. Who is managing that? Who is managing that facility? But unfortunately, we couldn't find any of our members that is the one managing the facility. Wow. So that's another thing that we have started it, that, look, all our corporate members, we must have a rallying point. That, look, this is the standard. And the benchmark is an international organization, and we must make sure that we have that benchmark. Our people must be safe. Our people must also enjoy. Environment supposed to be talking to you. Environment supposed to make you comfortable.
Absolutely.
Even, I used to tell people that if you get to a particular environment, if that environment is so good, even when you are sick, you will discover that naturally you get ill.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But if you are in an environment, and even the mere looking at the floor, to make you more sick.
Yes, immediately you will get sick. We traveled for a program, and after a 3-day program, everybody was just like, see the way all of us are smiling, laughing. Like there was a change. We're in a different country, everything seemed to be working, we were happy. How do we bring that culture of excellence to how we do our things here?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right. She needed
to
go ask your question. Yeah.
Okay, I like the angle you finished from, speaking about the fact that there are other parastatals that your members are not working on as facility managers. So can you highlight some of the organizations that your members are currently managing? And I ask that question because we hear this case about Lasut, and it was after that incident happened, we found out, you mentioned that nobody was actually on
Present,
that.
yeah.
So if we can say, oh, this government parastatal in XYZ community is currently being monitored, we can be rest assured that things like this would not happen. So do you have, like, off your fingers, like 4 organizations, government parastatals, that we can be sure that,
Confident,
you know,
that
these ones, nothing can happen.
Well, it's only God that can guarantee.
I love that.
We can only try our best, because at times, even when you prepare yourself and say, okay, I'm prepared for this, and then you discover that something will happen.
So which ones are you trying?
You know, I know that currently most of the hospitals in Lagos State is being managed by facility managers.
Right.
I know that. I know of Bagada that sometimes you can't use it, but now you can use it. Sure, you understand? So, and some of other buildings, you know, that belongs to the government have been used. Like you, sorry, you asked me a question before.
No, right, about, it was talked about that as...
Excellence. Yes, I would say that it is all of us. Yourself, when you conquer yourself, then you'll be able to translate it to other people. If I'm traveling, I did not throw something outside. If somebody does that, I will say, madam, that thing is not good. But if you are the leader,
you are doing the same thing. You can't
will not be able to point
your fingers.
So we have to work on ourselves as individuals and ensure that, look, when you are buying something, it is not forever. There must be plan for maintenance. There must be plan for changes. And that is why we are advocating that, look, let facility managers be part of the design of your projects.
From the beginning.
So that they will be able to give some angles to it. Because when they are managing it, they will know what's happened when they were designed and what they should do. That would make them to be a better manager. Instead of giving me something that I have to be cracking my, what may likely happen, I don't know where the conduit passed. Even if you give me the drawing, at times you have the drawing, but what you have on site is different from what you have in the drawing.
Right. Cutting corners.
Yeah. It happens. No, not even cutting corners. They may still use the same standard, but maybe the location, they may change it.
Right. Okay.
So, but if a facility manager is on ground, he knows that, oh, this is the where pass the track, and then he will know what to do about it.
Now, you mentioned earlier that there are standards for maintaining facilities. Now, for instance, this facility, what should be the standard for maintenance?
Yes, you know, for studios like this, you know that you use light more often. Is the lighting you are using, is it friendly? What is the effect on the people that are under it? All these have to be put into consideration. Then what is the exit like? Because when I was entering here, I was looking for, is there any
another exit route outside? Yes.
So you understand? Because whenever you enter any particular hall or building, you must, that's why signage is very important. They must give sign this way, this way, this way, so that you know what to do when the eventuality happens. So the standard should be that, look, all the, you know, the wiring, the cables and everything, they are well taped, they are well managed in a manner that it doesn't cause any accident to anybody. So we must have that one behind ourselves and then be able to move on.
Right. Damola? Okay.
So you only mentioned Bagada General Hospital.
No, I don't. You know, I said the hospitals. I only mentioned Gagara because I think I've used the place twice, and I know what happened when it's being managed by the hospital themselves and what is happening when they are not the one.
All right, let me quickly ask this question. As individuals, how do we imbibe the culture of maintenance, safety, and all of that? Yes.
As individual, you have to, number one, yourself. Are you safe? What you are into? What is the safety around it? Then number two, what is the kind of risk you are putting your neighbor into? By the time you understand these two, you'll be able to say, okay, if I'm having this structure, maybe annually I'm setting aside 10% of my income. I mean, the income of that, if it is a commercial one, the income of that particular property to maintain it is already done. It's a budget that 10% of it is going for this. So if there's going to be a kind of overblown budget, that one is a separate issue. But you must ensure that, look, I have 10% to maintain this. That is the way we can do it.
It's standard.
That is the no. It can be more. It depends on the use of that building. If it's a commercial building that have a very heavy traffic, then you can scale up the percentage. Just to ensure that the safety of the people are sure.
Is kept and that we maintain standard, whichever way it is. Anyway, we do not have time anymore to continue this conversation, but we must thank you, Olalekan Akinomi, President, International Facility Management Association, Lagos, Nigeria chapter, for your time on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I believe our viewers have been educated with regards to what safety is about.